What it is, what it do, travel world. It is your girl, the one and only Ash Brown, and this is the Show. Yes, brought to you by, of course, ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. I appreciate the love and support. Over 1,900 episodes and growing. None of this is possible without you guys, so thank you for all the love, all the support, the shares, the cares. It makes a huge difference. Today, we've got a co-founder with us today. We've got the wonderful David Jones of Herbalogic. Hey, David.
How's it going?
It's going great. How are you today?
I am doing great. I really appreciate you having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, David. Now, David, where in the world are you today?
Well, I am in Wenatchee, Washington.
Ooh, okay. And
which is far, far away from where we started our business.
And what kind of temperature are you guys getting out there in Washington today?
We are in central Washington, and so it is going to be in probably the mid-90s, but we are blessed with very low humidity. So when the sun starts to go down, it is very much sort of high desert here. So you get a little chance to think, how is it that, because, I lived in Texas for so long, and the temperature there is just, it's going to be hot and humid all day long, all night long. And so the idea that you might have to, pull out a long sleeve shirt in the evening is still foreign to me in this sort of high desert environment. So I'm enjoying summer for one of the first times in a very long time, even though it gets warm during the day.
It's really funny. Yeah. Well, Georgia, I'm in Georgia. I'm from Georgia, and Georgia has a very temperamental type of, situation when it comes to our temperatures and our climate and all that stuff. We could talk about that all day, David. Totally could.
Now, are you in the southern part of the state or the northern part of the state? Because my understanding is Georgia, the temperatures between the northern part and the southern part are real different, aren't they?
They are. I am more north now. I am near the Roswell area. But yeah, I'm more north now, but it just still feels like when it's summertime and it's heat, we're getting heat. Oh, they're turning it up on us. We're getting that heat coming. But also when we get showers and stuff, it'll be scattered showers. I've got a lot of family in South Georgia and Valdosta and stuff. And so that's more towards South Georgia, the bottom of the state. And it's you can get a little bit of anything in Georgia, honestly. And everything.
Yeah, that's what it
I love it. All right, David. So today I want to talk all about Herbalogic. So where did the initial idea come with you and the other co-founder?
So Janine, my co-founder, was really, okay, let me back up just a little bit. We're both acupuncturists. We both studied at the same school. We both did an extended tour in China. We're part of a group of folks who were studying in China as well. And we got to know each other a little bit more and became friends on that trip. And then we had to finish up school, but there's this weird thing where you finish up school, you take all your tests, you get all your certifications, and then you turn that all in to the Texas Medical Board, and then everything stops for some people it's 6 weeks if you're really well prepared and they don't have any problems with it. Other people it could be longer. And Janine is not someone who takes idle time very well. So in her idle time, she went, hey, you make really good tinctures. Because I had been making tinctures throughout school, which is a liquid extract. And I basically sold them to other students. I actually undercut the little store that sold stuff, sold it directly to students, and that's how I paid for lunches most days. Wow. But I was just, I just really liked making extracts and experimenting around with different ways to do it. And I had made Janine, because she was going to be taking herbs for a really long time for something she was working on, and I made her a big, quart of tincture, which is a lot of tincture. Yeah. And she took it to one of our professors, and the professor was like, this is probably one of the best tinctures I've ever seen in terms of how clear it is and the color and the smell. This is very well done. And so when Janine had all that downtime, I graduated a little bit before she did, and I had started a clinic, an acupuncture clinic, with another friend of mine. And Janine came in and said, "Hey, look, you make really good tinctures. Can you go to Whole Foods and can you find on their shelf herbal formulas and extractions that are based on traditional Chinese medicine?" Which is, of course, what we had studied, and it's what we had spent years in clinic, in school, working on and seeing firsthand how well these things could work for people. Even stuff that was simple and off the shelf could have these sort of dramatic effects for people. And, she's right. There wasn't, there was nobody who was in retail in any kind of meaningful way doing formulations that were based on traditional Chinese medicine. And it became one of those things, it's a cliche, the whole sort of like, that's so crazy, it might just work. And we approached it as, let's try and do this. Let's just pick 5 really good formulas and adaptations of those formulas that we think could help the most people. And then we'll try and make those. And I think, and that's how we, came up with Herbalogic. And we worked with some folks. We had, it was very much a bootstrapping situation. Like, we got really good help from people in terms of design for our labels and naming the product, because we knew somebody whose husband, with a friend, ran a branding and advertising company, and they were willing to work with us at a cut rate and let us take a long time to pay them. And, they were very generous with their time, and they're part of the reason why, our product looks great. And, and we joke about how the name Herbalogic stuck, and one of the reasons why is someone came up and was like, "Oh, Dave is the herb and Janine is the logic." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, kind of," because Janine is the person who loves business, right? And I really love herbs, and I don't think that speaks as much to our competencies as our interests, right? And, I mean, competency follows interest. Obviously, the things you're interested in, you get good at, but that's sort of how we divide out our roles, is I'm front of the house, she's back of the house.
Yeah. Now that you guys have been in business, how long have you been in business now?
We started in 2008.
Wow.
So what is that, 12, 15 years?
Yes, that is quite impressive. Quite impressive indeed. And with all the experience that you guys have been through, what would you say was the first thing that really challenged you as one of the co-founders?
You know what? What one of the first challenges was, is when there are only 2 people who are really working to build the company, you have to be the head chef and the chief bottle washer, right? Which means that if you're great at making tinctures and you are absolutely horrible at sales, then you have a choice, which is either hire someone who's good at sales or get good at sales.
Right.
Because ultimately, you've got to sell something.
Yeah.
You make a product. If people want to buy it, you got to sell it. And so one of the things that I found that I was really bad at is mustering up the courage to walk into a store and say, "Hey, I make something. It's really good, and I think it would be I think your customers would like to have the opportunity to buy it." And that's the sort of thing where, I'm sort of fundamentally an introvert. And so to muster up the courage to get past your own self-doubt and just go do the thing needs to be done, and walk into that store anyway and just pretend like you're good at sales. And then that, got a little bit easier. And because we started in Austin, the really big prize was Whole Foods, right? They were based in Austin. You could walk into one of the stores, and we were lucky enough to have somebody that we knew who worked in the whole body department of the flagship store, right? And so she could say, oh, here's who you need to talk to. But it turns out that doesn't really help that much, because you can walk into the Southwest Regional headquarters and, and the receptionist will greet you very kindly, and you'll say, I'd like to drop off these samples for Susan. And she's like, great. And it turns out that she takes it to a room that looks like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, because, which is just a warehouse full of other things that people bring in and say, I'd like to have Susan take a look at these. And so there was a guy I knew who was also trying to get into Whole Foods, and he just was like, look, I'm not going to take no for an answer. When they tell you no, okay, I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
You just are bullheaded enough about it. And we finally got to a point where I got an email from the buyer who said, hey, we're interested in your product. Can you do it for this price? Which was below what we wanted to do, of course. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I can. And if you just let me, get into the 2 stores that you have in Austin, still had 2 stores in Austin at the time, I will, we will give you the best support you're ever going to have. Your sell-through is going to be fantastic. You're going to really not regret bringing us in. And the email she sent after that is the one that really changed things for us. She said, oh, no, I'm not interested in bringing you in 2 stores. I'm interested in bringing you into 32 stores. Ooh. We want to bring you into the whole region.
Yes.
And that leads into the first thing that really surprised us, and the thing that let us know how unbelievably naive we were, is when they mentioned the word free fill. Do you know what free fill is? I didn't know what free fill was.
Free fill? No. What does free fill mean?
Yeah, so when a big box store like Whole Foods or Sprouts or some of these, you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
When they say, we would love to have your product, we would love to put it on the shelf. Whole Foods, for instance, when they open up a new store and you go into that store and you look around, beautifully stocked shelves everywhere, do you know how much they paid for all the product that's on their shelves right now?
How much?
Zero.
Oh.
When you go onto a shelf, the first 3 units of every single SKU that you put into that store, you have to give them. They come to you and they say, our free fill policy is. So when we got plussed out into 200 plus Sprout stores, that first shipment of everything we sent out to Sprouts, that was on us. Wow. That was money that we were never going to see again. Wow. Right? And so when you deal with some of these big box stores, they basically own you. They can make you do whatever they want, right? Hey, we're resetting the store. We need you to come in at midnight and help us move shelves around. Well, but I'm just a vendor. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you want to stay on the shelf, you will come in and you will absolutely, it work through the middle of the night to make sure that you stay on the shelf. Because if you don't, the broker from your competitor brand will absolutely be there. And she will say, hey, do we really need to put these on this shelf? Can I put my stuff there? And you can put their stuff down lower. And so you get this sort of cutthroat, thing. And to be honest with you, it's, we went through our Whole Foods phase. We went in, we were in several different regions, and we eventually sort of pulled out of those regions, which was good for us.
Right.
But it was a great experience to get through, and we learned so much about, retail and what that entails. And we did, like I said before, we realized how unbelievably ignorant we were and just naive about the whole process.
Yeah, but even with those experiences that you guys, you were learning along the way, because, again, a lot of people that are first-time inventors or people that are, first now going into the entrepreneurial sector, there's a lot that you don't know. You don't know until you don't know what you don't know, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that under your belt now, what advice would you offer to the next generation of inventors?
Wow, that is a great question. What advice? So that is not something that I have handy at hand. I'm going to have to think about that for a second.
No, you good. Well, like I said, taking from your experience. No, I was saying, like, taking from your experience and what you guys learned along the way, what is something that maybe you wish that someone would have told you, or something that you knew off the rip?
That I believe that entrepreneurship is very much like digging a ditch.
Mm-hmm.
It is one shovelful at a time.
Yep.
You keep your head down. You know the direction you want that ditch to go, and you are just gonna, and nothing is gonna make that go faster. You just have to one shovelful at a time, and you're gonna get so many things that come at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that some of the, okay, you know what? I thought of something that I would probably tell someone, and that is, you are smart, you are capable, you came up with an amazing product,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not an accountant. Hire an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spend your time trying to learn things that you can pay someone to do who's going to do it better, faster, and cheaper than you're ever going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hire good designers. Hire accountants. Hire people who know how Amazon advertising works. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the best money that you're ever going to spend, is the person who can solve that problem for you
Mm-hmm.
cheaper and faster than you were ever going to be doing. And that allows you the bandwidth to stay on your core mission, to come up with better products, to engage your customers more intentionally and more thoroughly, while someone else is doing stuff that you're probably not that good at anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, understand where your competencies are and hire out where you have gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this, I think most of the entrepreneurs that I've talked to have this attitude, like, I can do anything, right?
Yeah.
I started this business, I can do anything. And no, you can't. Be smart about what you can and cannot do.
I like that. That is a good point there, David. Thank you so much, David Jones, for coming through today. Sprinkling that little knowledge on us. We love that. Definitely appreciate that, David. And let everyone know where they can check out the products and get some more information on Herbalogic.
Well, you can get all of that stuff at our website, which is www.herbalogic.com. We just, about a year ago, came out with some immune function products, which is a sort of a space that we hadn't really been in. And I'm actually pretty excited about these, because not only do we have stuff to sort of just, there's a very, very simple formula in traditional Chinese medicine. It's called jade windscreen. And it is simple but really effective at just keeping your immune function good. Right? And then we were able to add a couple of vitamins, some vitamin D and some C and some zinc, to sort of give that traditional formula a little bit more oomph. And it's something that you can take every day. We call it Shield. Actually, its support system is the one I was talking about. Yeah. Shield is a combination of some other herbs that are a little bit more for when you know you're going to be around. Like if I was going to get on a flight, or if I was going to be at a place where a lot of other people be, I would probably take some Shield just to give it a little bit more oomph. And people can find those. I think it's a good thing to take. I take them every day, the support system, just because, we live in a community around people, and, people are, if you go to the grocery store, someone in there is going to be coughing. Oh, yeah. And you don't have to be afraid that you're going to catch stuff, but I just like to know that I'm doing what I can to make sure that I'm going to be as healthy as I can, and especially as we get older and, your immune system starts to maybe not be as good as it was at one point in your 20s, and I like to be able to give it a little bit of a lift, if you will. Yeah. But yeah, if anyone's interested, go to herbalogic.com. The thing that we probably sell the most of is called Quiet Mind, and for people who tend to live in the wreckage of the future, who worry and overthink stuff, it's a fantastic match for folks who have that as an issue in their lives.
Gotcha. David, thank you so much. Again, really appreciate you coming through and sharing and dropping some knowledge on us. I know that you guys are in the kitchen there cooking up some new stuff. So next time you come back, we got to talk about that new stuff, David. I know you guys are working on some, some secret little recipes back there. So
there might be a few of them, yeah.
So we'll have to touch on that on your next episode with us. So appreciate
well,
you,
David. I can't wait. And I really appreciate you having me on. And I know that we had a couple of missed calls there. And so I appreciate your persistence. And it was a pleasure to chat with you today.
Absolutely. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.